6 months had passed since the alien blockade began, and Earth had transformed into something unprecedented in human history. Every nation had set aside their differences to face the common threat, but they had not abandoned their unique approaches to solving problems. This combination of unity and diversity was exactly what made humans so frightening to the aliens, and it would become the key to humanity's survival. Admiral Tony Gray commanded the joint task force responsible for finding a solution to the alien blockade. Tony had served in 5 different navies during his career and understood how different groups of humans could work together, despite completely different philosophies and methods. He realized that this ability to cooperate while maintaining independence was something the aliens could never understand or counter. Dr. Lisa Hamilton and engineer Maya Thompson had been working together for months despite their completely different approaches to the alien problem. Lisa believed in understanding and communication, while Maya focused on technology and force. Their collaboration had produced something neither could have achieved alone: a way to use human unpredictability as a strategic advantage. Maya had discovered that alien technology worked by calculating every possible outcome of a situation and then choosing the most efficient response. This approach was perfect for dealing with logical, predictable opponents, but it failed completely when faced with beings who made decisions based on intuition, emotion, and random chance. Human unpredictability was not a weakness to be corrected. It was a weapon that no alien defense could counter. Lieutenant Colonel Danny Walsh volunteered to lead the first test of the new human strategy. His mission was simple in concept but impossible in execution: fly a small fleet of ships directly at the alien blockade and do whatever seemed like a good idea at the moment. The mission had no predetermined plan, no backup strategies, and no way to predict what would happen. It was the most human approach to problem-solving that anyone could imagine. Danny commanded 5 ships, each with a small crew of volunteers who understood they might not survive the mission. The crews were chosen for their ability to think quickly and adapt to changing situations, not for their skill at following orders. Each captain was given complete authority to make decisions based on their own judgment, regardless of what the other ships were doing. The alien monitoring stations detected the approaching human fleet and began calculating responses to every possible human strategy. The Zephyrian Collective had analyzed thousands of human military encounters and believed they understood all human tactical approaches. They prepared countermeasures for every strategy humans had ever used in combat, from ancient cavalry charges to modern space warfare. But the humans were not using any recognizable strategy. Captain Rachel Ward decided to fly her ship in a spiral pattern toward the alien station, changing direction randomly every few seconds. Major Kevin Brooks chose to approach at maximum speed, then suddenly stop his engines and drift forward silently. Colonel Sam Peterson flew his ship backward while spinning it like a top, creating a flight pattern that made no sense to human or alien observers. The alien computers struggled to process the random human behavior. Every time they calculated a response to one ship's actions, that ship would do something completely different. The aliens had never encountered opponents who could change their strategies faster than computer calculations could predict new strategies. Their perfect defense system began to overload from too much contradictory information. Dr. Nathan Pierce monitored the alien communications during the human assault and detected something unprecedented: confusion. The Zephyrian Collective was experiencing their first moment of uncertainty in millions of years. They could not reach consensus on how to respond to enemies whose actions made no logical sense. For the first time in their history, the aliens were paralyzed by their own need for perfect agreement. Danny's ship was the first to break through the alien blockade. His approach was the most random of all. He simply flew straight at the alien station while his crew played loud music and told jokes over the radio. The alien computers could not process this combination of aggressive action and casual behavior. They had never encountered warriors who could face death while laughing at their own fears. One by one, the other ships followed Danny through the gap in the alien defenses. Each ship used a completely different approach, making it impossible for the aliens to learn from previous encounters. Rachel Ward's crew sang folk songs while manually adjusting their ship's systems in real time. Kevin Brooks had his team playing card games while flying through the most dangerous space in human history. Sam Peterson's crew was having a debate about philosophy while dodging alien defensive systems. The breakthrough was temporary, but it proved that the alien blockade was not impenetrable. More importantly, it demonstrated to the Zephyrian Collective that their understanding of human behavior was completely wrong. Humans were not mindlessly aggressive. They were creatively chaotic, able to maintain hope and humor even in the face of certain death. Maya Thompson analyzed the data from the successful mission and made a disturbing discovery. The aliens had let the human ships through the blockade. The defensive systems had been deliberately shut down at the crucial moment. The Zephyrian Collective had chosen to allow the human breakthrough, which meant they were learning to adapt to human behavior. Admiral Tony Gray realized that the aliens were more intelligent than anyone had imagined. They had allowed the human victory in order to study human tactics under stress. The next human assault would face alien defenses that had been modified to counter human unpredictability. The window of opportunity was closing rapidly. Dr. Maria Santos proposed a radical new approach based on her studies of Harmonizer of Many Thoughts. Instead of trying to defeat the aliens militarily, humans should demonstrate that their chaotic nature was exactly what the galaxy needed. The ordered perfection of the Zephyrian Collective had created a stable but stagnant civilization. Humans could offer the gift of creative chaos that would allow alien civilization to grow and change again. Lisa Hamilton developed a communication strategy that would demonstrate human value to the galaxy. She proposed broadcasting human art, music, literature, and scientific discoveries to the entire Zephyrian Collective. The message would not be a plea for mercy or an offer of surrender. It would be an invitation to experience the joy of uncertainty and the excitement of facing unknown challenges. Nathan Pierce worked with Maria Santos to create a psychological profile of the alien leadership. They realized that the aliens were not evil conquerors trying to destroy humanity. They were terrified guardians trying to protect a fragile galactic civilization from what they saw as a chaotic force of nature. The aliens could be convinced to change their minds, but only if humans could prove that chaos and order could coexist peacefully. Captain Rachel Ward led the planning for the next phase of the human strategy. Instead of sending warships to break the blockade, humans would send artists, scientists, teachers, and philosophers. They would demonstrate that human unpredictability could create beauty, solve problems, and inspire hope rather than destruction and fear. The plan required perfect coordination between thousands of humans who disagreed about almost everything. Politicians who hated each other had to work together. Scientists with opposing theories had to share their research. Artists with completely different styles had to collaborate on projects that represented all of humanity. Tony Gray watched his species prepare for the most important mission in human history and felt a strange sense of pride. Humans were doing what they did best, achieving the impossible through sheer stubborn determination. They were about to attempt something that had never been tried before, convincing an advanced alien civilization that chaos was a gift rather than a threat. The aliens were right to declare humans dangerous. Humans were dangerous to stagnation, dangerous to despair, and dangerous to the idea that any problem was truly unsolvable. The question now was whether the galaxy was ready for the kind of danger that humans represented. 2 months had passed since the alien blockade began, and humanity was starting to adapt to its new prison. The solar system had become the entire universe for human civilization, but humans were stubborn creatures who refused to accept defeat easily. Then something unexpected happened that changed everything. A damaged alien ship crashed in the Canadian Rockies during a winter storm. The crash site was discovered by a military patrol led by Major Kevin Brooks, who had been searching for any signs of alien activity on Earth. The alien ship was small and badly damaged, but it was the first piece of alien technology that humans could study up close. Kevin approached the crash site carefully with his team. The alien ship was unlike anything in human experience. It had no sharp edges or straight lines, and its surface seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Strange symbols covered the hull, glowing with soft light that pulsed in regular patterns. The ship appeared to be alive rather than built. Inside the ship, Kevin's team found the pilot. The alien was still breathing but clearly injured. It looked nothing like the creatures from human science fiction movies. The being was tall and thin, with skin that changed colors like an oil slick. It had large eyes that seemed to see in directions that humans could not understand, and long fingers that moved in ways that made human observers feel dizzy. Dr. Nathan Pierce arrived at the crash site within hours of its discovery. Nathan was a linguist and psychologist who specialized in communication with non-human intelligence. He had spent years studying dolphin and whale languages, preparing for the day when humans might encounter alien minds. That day had finally come, but Nathan felt completely unprepared for the reality of it. The alien pilot was conscious but appeared to be in great pain. It made sounds that were not quite music and not quite speech, but definitely carried meaning. Nathan recorded every sound and began the slow process of trying to understand an alien language. The task seemed impossible, but Nathan had always believed that any intelligent being could learn to communicate with any other intelligent being given enough time and patience. Nathan's first breakthrough came when he realized that the alien used mathematical concepts as the foundation for all communication. The being would create complex geometric patterns in the air with its long fingers while making specific sounds. Each pattern corresponded to a mathematical relationship, and these relationships could be combined to express more complex ideas. After days of careful work, Nathan managed to establish basic communication with the alien pilot. The being identified itself with a concept that roughly translated to harmonizer of many thoughts. This name reflected the alien's role in its society as someone who helped different minds work together toward common goals. Harmonizer of many thoughts was fascinated and terrified by human behavior. It explained that the Zephyrian collective was composed of 12 different alien species that had learned to live together in perfect harmony. Every decision was made by consensus, with all members of the collective agreeing before any action was taken. The idea of intelligent beings who could disagree with each other and still function as a society was incomprehensible to the alien mind. Dr. Lisa Hamilton joined Nathan's communication efforts and learned something that shocked her. The Zephyrian collective had been observing humanity for over 3,000 years, long before humans developed space travel. They had watched human civilizations rise and fall, had seen countless wars and conflicts, and had concluded that humans were fundamentally different from every other intelligent species in the galaxy. Captain Rachel Ward led a team of military psychologists who studied the aliens' responses to human behavior. They discovered that harmonizer of many thoughts became physically ill when exposed to human decision-making processes. The alien could not understand how humans could hold contradictory beliefs simultaneously, make decisions based on incomplete information, or continue functioning when faced with impossible situations. The alien explained that every other species in the galaxy had evolved to accept natural limits and work within them. When faced with an impossible problem, other species would find alternative approaches or accept that the problem could not be solved. Humans, on the other hand, treated impossible problems as temporary inconveniences that could be overcome with sufficient effort and creativity. Dr. Maria Santos, a specialist in comparative psychology, made a disturbing discovery during her interviews with the alien. The Zephyrian collective was terrified of humans not because humans were evil or aggressive, but because humans represented chaos in a universe that the aliens had spent millions of years organizing. The aliens had created a galactic civilization based on perfect order, consensus, and predictability. Humans threatened to destroy this order simply by existing. Harmonizer of many thoughts revealed that the alien blockade was not intended as a permanent prison. The Zephyrian collective hoped that isolation would force humans to evolve into a more orderly and predictable species. They believed that without the stimulus of external challenges, humans would eventually abandon their chaotic nature and become capable of joining galactic civilization. Nathan realized that the aliens fundamentally misunderstood human psychology. Isolation would not make humans more orderly. It would make them more desperate and more likely to take extreme risks to escape their confinement. The alien blockade was not solving the problem of human unpredictability. It was making that problem worse by giving humans a clear enemy to fight against. The alien pilot became increasingly distressed as it observed human behavior over several weeks. It reported back to the collective through methods that human technology could not detect or prevent. Each report made the aliens more convinced that humans were even more dangerous than they had originally calculated. Harmonizer of many thoughts. Explained that humans terrified the aliens because humans could cooperate with beings they fundamentally disagreed with. Other species in the galaxy could only work together when they shared identical goals and methods. Humans could work with anyone toward any goal, adapting their methods and strategies in real time based on changing circumstances. The alien was particularly frightened by human creativity and improvisation. It had observed human engineers solving technical problems by combining unrelated technologies in ways that should not work, but somehow did. It had watched human soldiers develop new tactics during battles, changing their strategies based on enemy responses. It had seen human scientists make breakthrough discoveries by pursuing ideas that other species would have dismissed as impossible. Lisa Hamilton realized that the aliens' fear was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. The aliens saw human chaos and unpredictability as signs of dangerous instability. They did not understand that these traits were actually humanity's greatest strengths, allowing humans to survive and thrive in situations that would destroy more orderly species. Kevin Brooks proposed that humans should demonstrate their positive qualities to the alien pilot. Instead of trying to hide human nature, they should show harmonizer of many thoughts, that human unpredictability could be used for creation rather than destruction. They organized demonstrations of human art, music, and literature, showing how chaos could be transformed into beauty. The alien pilot was confused by these demonstrations, but began to understand that humans were not simply destructive forces. It saw that human creativity could produce things of value and beauty, and that human cooperation could achieve goals that no individual could accomplish alone. However, this realization only made the alien more frightened because it meant that humans were even more capable than the collective had believed. Maria Santos made the final breakthrough in understanding alien psychology. The Zephyrian collective was not evil or malicious. They were simply a highly advanced civilization that had achieved perfect stability by eliminating all sources of change and uncertainty. They looked at humans and saw everything they had given up to achieve their ordered society: passion, creativity, adaptability, and the willingness to face unknown challenges with hope rather than fear. 3 weeks passed faster than anyone wanted them to. The world had changed completely during those weeks. Every government on Earth was preparing for something nobody understood. Some countries wanted to obey the alien order and stop all space travel. Others wanted to fight back against the aliens who dared to threaten humanity. Lieutenant Colonel Danny Walsh commanded a small reconnaissance ship called the Starseeker. His mission was to test the alien threat and see if they were serious about their warning. Danny was a pilot who had never backed down from any challenge. But as he approached the edge of the solar system, he felt fear for the first time in his military career. The aliens had been busy during the 3 weeks since their warning. Strange objects now floated in space at the boundary of the solar system. They looked like nothing humans had ever built. The objects were perfectly smooth and seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. They hung in space without any visible means of propulsion, defying everything humans knew about physics. Danny tried to fly past one of the alien stations, but his ship stopped working the moment he crossed an invisible line in space. Every system on his ship shut down at once. The engines stopped running, the lights went out, and even the air recycling system went silent. Danny and his crew floated in complete darkness, waiting to die. Then, just as suddenly as it had stopped, the ship came back to life. Every system turned on again, but the ship was now pointing back toward Earth. Danny tried to turn around and continue his mission, but the moment he crossed the invisible line again, his ship shut down. The message was clear. Humans were not allowed to leave the solar system. Dr. Lisa Hamilton received Danny's report and felt her heart sink. The alien technology was far beyond anything humans could understand or fight against. The aliens could disable human ships without damaging them. which meant they could control human movement through space with perfect precision. This was not just advanced technology. This was technology that seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics. General Steve Carter was not ready to give up. He commanded the Earth Defense Force and had spent his entire career preparing for threats to humanity. He did not care if the aliens were more advanced. Humans had always found ways to defeat enemies who seemed impossible to beat. He ordered his scientists to study the alien technology and find weaknesses that could be exploited. Engineer Maya Thompson led a team of the smartest technical people on Earth. They examined every piece of data from Danny's encounter with the alien blockade. The information was confusing and frightening. The alien ships did not seem to use engines, fuel, or any recognizable form of power. They existed in space as if the laws of physics did not apply to them. Maya discovered something that made the situation even worse. The alien technology did not just stop human ships from working. It convinced the ships that they should not work. The aliens could somehow communicate directly with matter and energy, telling them to behave in different ways. Human technology tried to force matter and energy to do what humans wanted. Alien technology asked matter and energy politely, and matter and energy seemed happy to cooperate. Meanwhile, panic was spreading across Earth. The stock markets crashed as people realized that humanity might be facing extinction. Some religious leaders claimed that the aliens were angels sent to punish humanity for its sins. Others said the aliens were demons trying to destroy God's chosen people. Scientists tried to calm the public by explaining that aliens were simply another form of life, but nobody was listening to scientists anymore. President Amy Rodriguez appeared on television every day to try to keep the world calm. She promised that humanity would find a way to survive this crisis. She reminded people that humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and natural disasters. They would survive this challenge too, but only if they worked together instead of fighting among themselves. Dr. Lisa Hamilton made a disturbing discovery while studying the alien communication patterns. The aliens were not just more advanced than humans. They thought in completely different ways. Human brains could hold contradictory ideas at the same time and still function normally. Alien brains seemed to require perfect logical consistency in all their thoughts. This difference in thinking patterns might be why the aliens found humans so frightening. Maya Thompson's team managed to recover small pieces of alien technology from the edge of the solar system. The pieces had broken off from the alien stations and drifted into space where human ships could collect them safely. When Maya examined these fragments under powerful microscopes, she found something impossible. The alien technology was not made of matter as humans understood it. It was made of organized space and time that had been convinced to hold a particular shape. Danny Walsh volunteered for another mission to test the alien defenses. This time he took a larger ship with more advanced sensors. He wanted to understand exactly how the alien blockade worked. As his ship approached the invisible barrier, the sensors recorded everything that happened. The readings showed that reality itself changed at the boundary line. Space and time bent in ways that made normal physics impossible. The aliens had built a wall made of twisted space-time that surrounded the entire solar system. Any human ship trying to cross this wall would find itself moving backward through time and space until it was safely inside the solar system again. General Steve Carter realized that conventional military tactics would not work against enemies who could rewrite the laws of physics. He ordered his strategists to think of new approaches that had never been tried before. Humans needed to find ways to fight that the aliens would not expect or understand. Lisa Hamilton proposed a different approach. Instead of trying to fight the aliens, humans should try to understand them. The alien behavior patterns suggested that they were afraid of humanity for specific reasons. If humans could figure out what those reasons were, they might be able to address the aliens' fears and negotiate a peaceful solution. Maya Thompson disagreed with Lisa's peaceful approach. She believed that the aliens had already decided to treat humans as enemies, and no amount of negotiation would change their minds. The only way to survive was to develop technology that could match or exceed alien capabilities. Maya was determined to find a way to break through the blockade and show the aliens that humans would not be caged like dangerous animals. As the deadline approached, Humanity found itself divided between those who wanted to fight and those who wanted to negotiate. The alien blockade grew stronger each day, with more stations appearing at the edge of the solar system. It was becoming clear that the Zephyrian Collective had the power to destroy humanity completely, but they had chosen to imprison humans instead. This suggested that the aliens were not entirely evil, but it also meant that they saw humans as something too dangerous to be allowed freedom among the stars. Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command chair of Liberty's Dawn, watching the stars through the main screen when the impossible happened. The ship's communication system came alive with a signal that should not exist. The signal was strong, clear, and definitely not from Earth or any human colony. Jake pressed the alert button and called for Dr. Lisa Hamilton to come to the bridge. Lisa was the smartest person on the ship when it came to understanding alien things. She had spent her whole life studying the possibility of life beyond Earth, but she never expected to actually find it. The signal played over and over in strange sounds that hurt human ears. Lisa listened carefully and started working on her computer to break down the sounds. The patterns were complex but showed clear signs of intelligence. This was not random noise from space. Someone or something was trying to talk to them. Commander Rick Barnes arrived on the bridge and looked at the readings. He had been a military man for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The signal was coming from outside, the solar system, from a direction where no human ship had ever traveled. Lisa worked for hours while the ship's crew gathered around her station. The sound started to make sense as she found mathematical patterns hidden inside them. Mathematics was the same everywhere in the universe, so aliens would use it to talk to strangers. She found prime numbers, then simple equations, then more complex ideas. When she finally understood the first part of the message, Lisa's face went white with fear. She turned to Jake and Rick with wide eyes. The message was not a greeting or an invitation to be friends. It was a warning. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Collective. They had been watching humanity for a very long time, studying human behavior and human expansion into space. They did not like what they saw. The message said that humans were dangerous to all life in the galaxy and had to be stopped. Jake could not believe what he was hearing. Humans had never met aliens before, so how could they be dangerous to them? Lisa continued translating the message, and each new part made things worse. The aliens said humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable, and too willing to fight. They said humans expanded too fast and took too many risks. The most frightening part of the message came at the end. The Zephyrian Collective gave humanity 30 Earth days to stop all space exploration beyond the solar system. If humans did not obey this order, the aliens would take action to protect the galaxy from the human threat. They called these actions preventative measures, but did not explain what that meant. Rick immediately contacted Earth Command to report the alien message. The response from Earth was exactly what he expected. Nobody believed them at first. The idea that aliens existed was hard enough to accept. The idea that these aliens already considered humans to be enemies was almost impossible to believe. President Amy Rodriguez called an emergency meeting with world leaders. She had Lisa repeat the translation 3 times before anyone would take it seriously. The alien message was checked and double-checked by every expert on Earth. All of them came to the same conclusion. The message was real and the threat was real. Jake received orders to try making contact with the aliens. He was supposed to ask questions and try to start a conversation. Lisa prepared a response message using the same mathematical patterns the aliens had used. The message explained that humans were peaceful explorers who wanted to learn about the universe and make friends with other intelligent life. The alien response came back in less than 1 hour. It was short and clear. The Zephyrian Collective refused to have any discussions with humans. They had already made their decision based on centuries of observation. Humans had 30 days to comply with the order, and that was final. Rick tried to convince Earth Command that this was a serious situation, but many government officials still thought it might be an elaborate trick. Some thought it was a test by another country. Others believed it was a hoax created by someone with advanced technology. Only a few people understood that humanity might be facing its first interstellar war. Lisa studied the alien message for any clues about their technology or intentions. She found references to observation stations that had been watching human activities for hundreds of years. The aliens knew about human wars, human expansion to other planets, and human plans for further exploration. They had been studying. Humanity, like scientists, studied dangerous animals in a laboratory. Jake felt a chill when he realized what this meant. Humanity had never been alone in the universe. The aliens had been watching and judging human behavior for generations. Every war, every conflict, every aggressive act had been recorded and used as evidence that humans were too dangerous to be allowed to spread across the galaxy. The worst part was that Jake could understand why the aliens might think humans were dangerous. Human history was full of violence and conquest. Humans had fought wars over land, resources, religion, and ideas. They had destroyed environments and driven species to extinction. From an outside perspective, humans might indeed look like a threat to peaceful civilizations. But Jake also knew that humans were capable of great things. They could create beautiful art, solve complex problems, and show incredible kindness to strangers. They could work together when faced with common threats and sacrifice themselves to save others. The aliens had seen only the negative side of human nature and had missed all the positive aspects that made humanity worth saving. As Liberty's Dawn continued its patrol at the edge of the solar system, Jake wondered if there was any way to change the aliens' minds. 30 days was not much time to prove that humanity deserved a place among the stars. He looked at his crew working together to understand this new threat and felt a spark of hope. If anyone could find a solution to this impossible problem, it would be humans. They had always been good at doing the impossible when their survival was at stake. The final mission began not with warships and weapons, but with a simple transmission broadcast from Earth to every corner of the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Hamilton stood in the communications center and activated the most powerful transmitter humanity had ever built. The message that went out to the stars was not a threat or a plea, but something the Zephyrian collective had never heard before, an invitation to experience wonder. The transmission contained the best of human creativity compressed into a signal that would reach the alien homeworld in minutes. There were recordings of symphonies that brought tears to human eyes, paintings that captured the beauty of Earth sunsets, poems that expressed feelings too complex for simple words, and scientific discoveries that revealed the hidden patterns in natural chaos. But the most important part of the message was not any single piece of human art or knowledge. It was the way humans had created these things through collaboration between people who disagreed about everything, except the value of creating something beautiful together. The transmission showed aliens how humans could argue passionately about methods while working toward common goals. Harmonizer of Many Thoughts had been monitoring human behavior for months and provided real-time commentary to the collective about the transmission. The alien pilot was amazed by what it saw in the human message. These beings who had terrified the galaxy with their unpredictability were using that same unpredictability to create works of stunning beauty and profound meaning. Captain Rachel Ward led a small fleet of ships toward the alien blockade, but these were not military vessels. They were mobile laboratories, art studios, and performance spaces crewed by humans who wanted to share their creativity with the galaxy. Each ship broadcast its own signal, showing humans at work on projects that had no practical purpose except the joy of creation. The alien defensive systems activated automatically as the human ships approached, but then something unprecedented happened. The Zephyrian collective ordered their defenses to stand down. For the first time in their history, the aliens chose to allow potentially dangerous strangers to approach their territory without resistance. Admiral Tony Gray watched the breakthrough from Earth and felt a mixture of relief and terror. The aliens were letting humans pass through the blockade, but this could be a trap designed to study human behavior at close range. Tony had gambled the future of humanity on the belief that aliens could learn to see chaos as a creative force, rather than a destructive one. Major Kevin Brooks commanded the lead ship in the human flotilla and was the first person to establish direct contact with an alien vessel. The alien ship was so advanced that Kevin's crew could not understand how it moved or operated. but they could appreciate the elegant beauty of its design. The aliens had created technology that was both perfectly functional and aesthetically pleasing in ways that human engineering had never achieved. Dr. Nathan Pierce opened communications with the alien crew and discovered that they were as curious about humans as humans were about them. The aliens wanted to understand how beings could function without consensus, how they could create beauty from conflict, and how they could maintain hope in the face of uncertainty. These were questions that had puzzled the collective for millions of years. The human ships were invited to visit the primary Zephyrian station at the edge of the solar system. This was a structure larger than Earth's moon, containing representatives from all 12 species of the collective. It was a diplomatic center where perfect consensus had governed decision-making for longer than human civilization had existed. Dr. Maria Santos led the first human delegation to board the alien station and found herself in an environment that challenged every assumption about alien life. The station was beautiful beyond description, with spaces designed to accommodate the needs of 12 different species simultaneously. Every surface was covered with art that combined the aesthetic traditions of multiple worlds into harmonious displays that pleased every alien sense. But Maria also noticed something disturbing about the alien environment. Everything was perfectly ordered, perfectly predictable, and perfectly safe. There were no surprises, no challenges, and no opportunities for growth or change. The aliens had created a paradise, but it was a paradise where nothing new could ever happen. Lisa Hamilton presented the human case to the assembled representatives of the Zephyrian collective. She explained that humans were not trying to destroy galactic civilization, but to help it grow and evolve. Human chaos was not random destruction, but creative adaptation that allowed new solutions to emerge from impossible problems. The galaxy needed humans not as conquerors but as partners in exploring the unknown. The alien response was immediate and unanimous. The collective formally withdrew their quarantine of humanity and extended an invitation for humans to join galactic civilization. But this was not the surrender or subordination that many humans had expected. The aliens wanted humans to remain exactly as they were, chaotic, unpredictable, and willing to attempt the impossible. Harmonizer of many. Thoughts explained the collective's change of mind to Nathan Pierce during a private conversation. The aliens had realized that their fear of humanity was actually recognition of what their own civilization had lost in its pursuit of perfect order. They had eliminated conflict, uncertainty, and risk from their lives, but they had also eliminated growth, creativity, and the joy of facing new challenges. The aliens revealed that their civilization had been stagnant for millions of years. They had solved all the problems they could understand, and had stopped trying to solve problems they could not understand. They had achieved perfect stability by giving up the possibility of progress. Human chaos represented everything they had sacrificed for the sake of order. Engineer Maya Thompson was invited to examine alien technology and made discoveries that revolutionized human understanding of physics. The aliens did not build machines in the human sense. They grew technologies from organized spacetime that were convinced to maintain specific shapes and functions. This approach required perfect consensus because any doubt or disagreement would cause the technology to collapse back into normal matter and energy. Maya realized that human technology and alien technology were perfectly complementary. Humans could create things that should not work, but did work through stubborn determination and creative improvisation. Aliens could create things that worked perfectly according to natural laws, but could never be modified or improved. Together, the two approaches could achieve things that neither species could accomplish alone. Captain Rachel Ward established the first joint human-alien research station in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The station was designed using alien theory, principles of harmony and efficiency, but it was operated using human principles of creative chaos. The combination produced breakthrough discoveries in physics, biology, and mathematics that amazed scientists from both civilizations. The integration of humans into galactic civilization was not without challenges. Many alien species were still frightened by human unpredictability and needed time to adjust to the idea of chaos as a creative force. Some human groups resented alien oversight and wanted to maintain complete independence. But gradually, both sides learned to appreciate what the other offered. Admiral Tony Gray established the Human Integration Council to manage the complex process of joining galactic civilization while maintaining human identity. The Council's primary mission was to ensure that humans remained chaotic and unpredictable, while learning to channel those traits toward constructive purposes that benefited all species in the galaxy. Danny Walsh commanded the first joint exploration mission to uncharted regions of space. His crew included humans and aliens working together to investigate phenomena that neither species could understand alone. The mission discovered 3 new forms of life and 2 previously unknown physical laws, proving that human chaos and alien order could create discoveries impossible for either species alone. The galaxy had been waiting for millions of years for someone dangerous enough to challenge the assumption that progress was impossible. The Zephyrian Collective had created a perfect civilization by accepting limits and working within them. Humans offered the galaxy something it had forgotten how to value: the dangerous belief that any limit could be overcome with sufficient creativity and determination. Lisa Hamilton recorded the final entry in her research log as she watched human and alien children playing together in the gardens of the integration station. The aliens had been absolutely right to declare humans dangerous, she wrote. Humans were dangerous to despair, dangerous to stagnation, and dangerous to the idea that the universe had already revealed all its secrets. The galaxy would never be safe or predictable again, and that was exactly what it needed to become truly alive.